Okay. there's anything I can do for you, please, please tell me. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Indeed. Blood and damnation.
Indeed.
Blast and damnation.
Yes. Yes.
Good old Tagrin. You know what?
As you said.
Now let's wait till we get there. Alright. Take a looky here. Previous. Reset. Yeah. Try it. Nope. Guess that's just gonna be the way it is.
Shall we go?
Sure, we need to be able to pick locks with you, buddy. And do some traps at least. No, we'll just focus on that. Those are secondary. This is what we're going to focus on. Here's the thing.
Horse
Brosca.
Indeed.
Check
Yes.
to see if anyone else needs this. Yep. Thought so.
Of course.
Okay. Honestly, yes. Hmm. That's usually enough. Proof drain is nice, but that's usually enough. Try it. If it doesn't work out, we'll switch it out. Actually, and honestly, I'll pick that before I pick those. Some people like Cone of Cold. I've heard this from other mages. There are mages that prefer this. I'm not with them. These have issues with friendly fire and in general. I just find in terms of concentrated damage on one individual. The Winter's Grasp, which can also has the bonus of freezing them, and lightning work more effectively. They're more controllable. They do more individual damage, and I prefer that. If I'm going to do area damage, I prefer bombs for my rogues or something like that. Code of Cold can catch your own people. I'm leery of that happening. Oh, what the heck. This is good, but honestly, anti-mage stuff is what I really want right now for him. An area effect attack. Yes. Normally I would put those on the next page. I'm going to have to check those though. Make sure that they stay in use. Always remember. Okay. So far, so good. Goes out.
Yes.
Yeah. It's.
Indeed.
Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Honestly. No. No. something I'm going to do. There. Now I just can focus on dual weapon thing because she needs to have that built up badly. Okay, Alistair. See what you've got. Assault isn't bad. I want that shield mastery. Eventually, I want you to get Holy Smite too, so. I'll eventually get the shield mastery next time, or Holy Smite. Okay.
Of all the...
I'm going to take people here.
Indeed.
Pigeon crap.
Blood and damnation.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait. Before I go, there's one thing I need to do. Before I go to Orzammar. I'll be back, but there's something I need to do.
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive?
I need you. Thank you for making me strong enough to do that, Leliana.
Yes.
Made me strong enough to go to Orzammar.
Indeed.
Yes.
I don't know what I'd do without you. You and Mama win. Can't wonder what Duncan would say looking at this now. He'd probably say, well, you must do your duty as a Grey Warden. Child. Still do not want to go here. But, gotta do it. We'll wait on the spell might.
I stand ready.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah, we'll be close in building. Sure. Can I switch out if something else becomes more appropriate? Yes. I'm on official business. I'm going to take this direct route. the honored route, not the backward merchant route. I am on a mission. Let's get this done with immediately. Okay, let's keep going.
King Logain will not...
Vieta, this land is held in trust for the sovereign dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Logain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
Settled? Something happened to... What was it? King Endrin?
You won't get in talking about a king like that.
Wait, look at me. You're the brand who dishonored the Proving. Trust you to be ignorant of our tragedy. Orzammar has no king. Endrin Idukan returned to the stone not 3 weeks ago, sick over the loss of his sons. The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
I am a Grey Warden. This treaty obliges Orzammar to help me.
The Wardens killed King Kalen and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Logain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And what was that you said? A filthy brand? In the name of King Logain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden.
You know, what's funny about this, I think there's nothing more pathetic than being racially insulted by someone who doesn't understand what it means. Who just picks up upon it and uses a disgusting, bigoted epitaph as a way to worm his way into people based on their prejudices and inequities when he's too ignorant to even know what it means. Disgusting, pathetic, wretched. And so very typical of the kind of people that Rendon Howe and Logain have been forced to use in their stupid, narrow ethno-nationalistic vision that will only doom us to the blight. That's another leader that I hope I never turn into. I don't have time to waste on you. Run to your false king. The dwarves will not hear him today.
You'll hear of this. King Logain will see you quartered.
He's welcome to come.
You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden, though I don't know what help you will find.
Thank you.
A trust follow, Warden. Your arrival is a mixed blessing. Your return is not celebrated, but we must respect your new role.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the civil treatment. It's more than I had hoped for.
Fair journeys, Warden.
Thank you very much. Strange coming back to this place that is not my home. You know, I never looked at the stone above. I don't have any romantic feelings about the stone. Stone never did a damn bit of good for me. But it is stone. And it is nice to see stout dwarven halls once again. Solid, impressive, impassable, stoic, immovable, laconic, majestic, magisterial, magnificent. I do miss the architecture. I do miss the architecture.
Beauty, daughter. If you work hard like Branka, all Orzammar will know your name.
Mother, I don't want to be like her. She...
Don't say that. Not to me, not to anyone. Now get back to the forge. I want to see more details.
Yes, Mother.
But at the cost of that, they sure know how to ruin it. They sure know how to ruin it. And I was just starting to enjoy and appreciate the magnificence and majesty
Please, sir. Just a bit of bread.
of our architecture. Forgetting what it's built around and to serve and uphold.
For the love of Aragons, please.
King Endrin Iduken. Denial of the traditions of our people does not qualify as a political technicality. Go piss up a rope. I'm glad you're dead. Those traditions are why I am casteless. Endrin of House Iduken traces his ancestry back to the Paragon Iduken, the greatest warrior of Orzammar's history, who beat back the dwarf-spawn hordes in the First Blight. That doesn't mean that he did it, so what's so special about it? The second son of King Ansgar Iduken, he became heir after his elder brother died in approving. The most respected king in 4 generations, he restored contact with Kalsharak. That is good. The only other remaining city of the once vast Dwarven Empire, which had been lost during the First Blight. Thanks, Mr. Maker, or, I know, it's the Darkspawn, but still. He could have been a bit more sensitive.
Very well.
Ah, yes, the Paragons. The Paragons. As I studied among the dwarves, I became aware that their social system was as rigid as the stone that surrounded them. That's the truth, Brother Genitivi. I know this is from him. I love reading your work. From the lowest servant to the king of Orzammar, each dwarf has a caste. Oh yes, how we do. A rigid social standing which dictates what he may do and how he may do it. What fascinated me then was that the dwarves, stubborn as proud as they may be, have built a way for even the lowliest dwarf to bypass the caste system and reach prominence. Yes, theoretically, you can. But you basically have to become a living god. And there's a ton of reasons why no one would want to do that unless they're absolutely basically forced to, because it threatens their own positions. Any dwarf who has made up this achievement of significance can be named Paragon. Yeah, an incredible amount of significance, elevating the dwarf above all others. Yes, and it is almost impossible. It's not real. It's a joke. To become a Paragon is to be recognized as essentially a living ancestor. Yes, the people who say I'm not worth anything and who I have nothing but distaste for. Your words are considered ineffable, and the dwarves liken you unto a god. Yes, and it is not healthy. Your family, those you choose to ascend with you, become the founders of a new line of nobility. Indeed, every existing noble house among the dwarves traces its line back to a founding paragon. It's a rare thing, however. Yes, and there are reasons for that. In my visit, I learned that only one paragon has been elected in generations. Of course, the smith Brosca, exalted for her discovery of smokeless coal. I met the Paragon Brosca only once during my stay, and I considered it an odd occasion indeed. Surrounded by those of her house, this ill-tempered woman was draped in the finest clothing and jewelry, and was obviously revered even above the highest nobles, perhaps above even the king, yet she seemed to enjoy none of it. The burden of being a living legend is great, it appears. Statues of the Paragons are found throughout Orzammar, though nowhere so prominently than in the Hall of Heroes, through which one passes on entering from the surface. It is a breathtaking sight to behold, great works of stone, all seeming to hold up the ceiling above. It is meant to impress upon visitors to Orzammar of all who have gone before, I think. It is also meant to remind dwarves going to the surface, and thus abandoning their brethren forever, of all they are leaving behind. Yeah, well, I was happy to leave what I did behind. There was nothing for me to stay when I was castless. It was an incredible change, a traumatic change, but it was the right change. And as for becoming a new noble house, there's a reason it happens only once in generations. We have to basically where it takes, you have to do almost godly actions. Because every time you add a new noble house with deshers and nobles to it, that weakens the position and authority of the existing nobles. They become less scarce. Each new house reduces their importance and prominence all that much. And the addition of each new house means that there are more additional nobles which lord it over you if you are warriors, and conversely, merchants and smiths, and you don't want that. You see what I'm saying? There are definite political reasons why it is almost impossible to become a paragon if you are casteless. It is intentionally written that way and gives us a false hope of success. It's akin to winning a lottery. And only those who are bad at math ever bid on it, or are worse in terms of being fools.
It is begun.
Paragon Raka.
Atrust Vala, Warden.
Thank you.
It shall be done. As you say.
The Elder Mage watches me. I'm reminded of a certain former master
Very
whose
well.
head I crushed.
I have heard much about the halls of the Dwarven Kings, but the stories do it no justice. It is so strange, harsh, yet beautiful.
I agree. It is austere yet awesome. It has an unflinchingly sublime beauty to it. A sort of stoic grace. Something that is so lacking in our politics. It is nice to see that. And seeing it with you, and I'm very happy that you appreciate it. Its majesty, its grandeur, its seriousness, its dignity. Thank you, Leliana.
And have you seen those tiny pig-like burrowing animals? They are adorable. I wish I could have one as a pet. But they must be hard to catch and... Oh, just ignore me. I'm so silly sometimes. Let's just go.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Shane. I am simply curious about you, that's all.
As my former master would say during his experiments.
Oh, I would do no such thing. I just find the idea of you so fascinating. On the one hand, it seems it would be so sad and so lonely in existence. And on the other, you are so very powerful. No golem I know of has ever had free will as you do. May I ask what you intend to do with it?
Other than exterminating the vermin of the sky?
Yes. Other than that.
I do not know. Crushing heads is fun, for now.
Well, that's something.
My dear Leliana, it appears that we will have to get you a little baby nug. My sweetie. My sweetling. I will get you something. You can be sure of that. But before we go...
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the diamond quarter. I will not have Balin incite a riot.
Not speak that way about the man who should be king!
Ah, yes. Orzammar. I'm back. I'm definitely back.
Theater. I have enough crime time without some castless carrying weapons in the city. Your actions risk pain of death. Name yourself.
You bother a Grey Warden on risk of lots of pain. No. Do not be provoked. Grey Warden is all the name you need.
Warden. You? When I heard they accepted a brand, I thought it was a joke. Surfacers and their cloud-addled heads. Fine, oh illustrious Grey Warden. What do you want?
You know, I should have told you to do it right the first time. I should have just said, fuck you. Civility is wasted on trash and excrement like you. The Blight is coming, and I need Orzammar's assistance.
Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here.
I can certainly agree with that looking at the giant slab of shit that I'm currently staring at. And I'd slap you, but it splatters, so I won't. I know what paragons are, and I'm not going to feed into his utterly hateful look at me. Can a city function like this?
You have little faith in your own city, Brand.
It's that...
Excuse me, Warden, but this isn't Dust Town. The tavern is open and the market is busy. Orzammar has suffered worse. The ancestors will see us through.
The ancestors are fucking dead. I am alive, shithead. And the ancestors haven't done squat for us, except shove us back to this place that is right by that surface you so callously spit upon. No wonder Kal Shrock wants nothing to do with us. You think that people like you have existed for aeons, and what has it brought us but dust and defeat? If you had half a brain and cared about more than your own position, you might employ us and use us. You speak of a Brand who has built a better army, who could kill you in seconds. Who is part of the problem with Orzammar that leads it to its defeat. Don't you call me a Brand, boy. You're nothing. You're a child, a boy, a brat. Nothing. You're a boy, a kid. That's all you are. And that's all you'll ever be. And don't you forget it. So Harrowmont and Balin are the ones I need.
They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Balin speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Ferender from his estate.
Well, you know what? You've just done a bang-up job of keeping them from killing each other. Given that one of them just murdered him in front of the other. You're probably too much of a chicken shit to intercede because you don't know who's going to get into power. So you want to stand to the side as much as possible because you're afraid if you piss off whoever comes into power, they'll make you bleed. Coward. Gutless worm. I should get going.
Yes, you should.
I'd slap you, but shit splatters. See if you have anything else. Captain of the guard who's too cowardly to do his job or incompetent.
Yes, Warden. What is it?
I should get going.
Yes, you should.
I just had fun bothering you to see if you'd start doing your job.
For a tiny people, they certainly build high ceilings.
That we do, Princess. That we do, Mama.
We are honored to serve you, Grey Warden.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Normally, I like to explore areas. I want to see Rica. I want Rica to meet Leliana. I want Rica to meet Leliana.
It seems I must retract a statement I made earlier.
That's not the briefing.
The Elder Mage is not at all like my former master.
Oh? That's a good thing, is it?
It is, unless you happen to like having your head crushed. Not that I remember doing that.
You know, I think I even remember who you speak of. His name was Wilhelm, yes? From the Free Marches?
It was Wilhelm of shrill voice and the control rod that he enjoyed wielding very much. Any more than that, he did not divulge.
Well, if it was the same man, he had quite the reputation. A scholar of some means who disappeared mysteriously.
Mystery solved. I killed him. I expect I smiled, much as I'm able to.
You do speak your mind, don't you?
Fortunately, no other part of me has anything to say.
I need to figure out what's going on with Rica.
Did you see that? I cannot believe what the city has come to. This would never have happened when Endrin was alive.
I know who Balin is. Balin is Rica's beloved. Well, I know who I'm going to side with. Because Balin is Rica's beloved. And so I'm siding with her over this Harrowmont. What do you know about this Harrowmont?
You're from the surface. I thought with all your finery, but I suppose that explains the mark on your face. From long ago, I suppose. Lord Harrowmont should be our king. He was King Endrin's closest advisor, the only one he could trust. Endrin himself, ancestors welcome him, asked the Assembly to endorse Harrowmont.
Why such hate for Balin?
Everybody knows he killed his brother Tree and let his father's favorite son take the blame. And many question whether Endrin died abed, as we were told, or whether Balin helped him along.
Is Harrowmont qualified to rule?
He is a good man and a skilled general. King Endrin trusted him with his life, and I will do no less.
Did you know King Endrin?
Only as a potential match for one of his sons. He was a good king, stern and fair and just.
How did Endrin die?
He died in bed after his eldest son was murdered, and the Assembly condemned his second son for it. I cannot blame him for preferring to join the ancestors in eternal peace, if Balin didn't murder him himself.
Who are you?
I am Narav Helmi, third daughter of the second matron of House Helmi. And you, stranger, what brings you to Orzammar at such a time?
I am Natia, a Grey Warden, and I'm here seeking aid.
A Grey Warden? But there are no dwarven Grey Wardens this generation except for...
Yes.
Oh, that's who you are.
Yes.
I thought with the brand, I assumed you were a surfacer. I have to go.
Predictable. I want to see, talk, and explore and see how things are different. But before I do that...
Excuse me, do you have a moment?
Okay. I can't help that. That sounded like a nice kid. It reminded me of me when I was little. Okay. What you need? I gotta speak with you. You reminded me of when I was a kid.
Oh, I actually was talking to your companions. Or are you from the surface too?
Yes, you could say that.
Oh, wonderful. I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle?
Yes, actually I have. My companion here, in fact, is a senior enchanter of the Circle.
Oh, my lady, it's an honor. I've never met an actual mage. Is it true you can manipulate nature's forces with your mind? Like you were born with lyrium in your veins?
Don't let the glamour fool you, child. Wielding magic is a dangerous occupation and a great responsibility.
We'd be happy to answer any questions. Now remember, Mom, you don't want to dampen her enthusiasm. I like it. It's refreshing to see it in stolid, staid, uptight, conservative, stiff-necked Orzammar. Someone with this youthful vigor, enthusiasm, and a desire to build a better future. Their own future.
I've been trying to reach someone there for years. I've sent missives with every caravan, but I never get a reply. I want to know if they would accept me for study.
That's rude. I know why, but tell me.
No dwarf has ever studied at the Circle of Magi. I guess you never read First Enchanter Caitlin's treatise concerning dwarfs and the non-heritability
I'm
of
familiar
magic.
with that
He tested
fact.
dwarfs from 20 bloodlines and found they couldn't perform any level of spell casting, regardless of lyrium exposure or time on the surface. The Circle speculates that lyrium in the stone shields us from spiritual influences, and over time made us immune to them.
So what do you want with the circle?
I want to go to the Circle to study. I don't want to do magic. No dwarf can cast spells, but I don't see why I shouldn't study it. It would be a valuable exchange. Orzammar would learn of one of the great natural forces of the surface. And the Circle gains direct access to our knowledge of lyrium smithing.
Wow, she's awesome. I love this kid. Finally, something in Orzammar that's worth liking. A person who wants to get the fuck out. Yes, of course. Hi, my name's Dagna, and I'm awesome. I want to learn about the outside world and get the fuck out of Orzammar. Finally, something awesome in Orzammar. Because it wants to leave. Actually, she wants to leave. I like her. She's got spunk and pluck and knowledge, and she's probably got skills and brains. I like this kid. I can bring the circle your request.
That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcast. Tell them I've already begun reading the Teventer Imperiums for Tikum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Magister Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child?
She's so enthusiastic and adorable. I'm glad we're helping her.
Yes.
Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting by my father's shop.
I know, she is adorable. Thank you, Leliana, for appreciating her. She reminds me when I was a little kid. Balin Idukin. This is a time for action, not cultured debate. Third of King Endrin's children, Balin has always been considered the last and least of his family. Not to me. She's Rica's beloved. He's Rica's beloved. There must be some positive elements to him. Not that she's too sensible to go for anyone else. Not the heir, nor the favorite, and not as accomplished as either sibling. Balin's most noble trait was his ability to stay out of trouble. That's actually pretty smart. Speaking as a casteist, that's highly beneficial. Lord Pyrel Harrowmont. No one is born with rights to the throne. The sitting king may recommend a successor, but the assembly ultimately decides who will rule. House Harrowmont is one of the oldest noble houses, as old as Orzammar itself. Andrew is the most trusted advisor. Harrowmont is well known for being an able administrator and the author of many compromises in the ever-warring assembly. We're enemies. I'm going with Balin. He's with Rica. I can't help it, though. I know what it's like to need to get out of this place as soon as possible. So I'm going to help Dagna escape right now. I need to take Orzammar in steps. I need to be reminded that we can escape. So I'm going to leave, and I'm going to help Dagna. I don't care.
Shale, why do you refer to me as the Elder Mage?
Clearly, because it is purple, and a hyena.
Then you simply wish to be perverse? Surely you're better than that.
I have found that I'm allowed precious few amusements. Since so many prefer to call me Gollum, I enjoy referring to them in a similar fashion.
Oh, very well. But could you at least use a different adjective? I do not wish my age to be my defining characteristic.
As the fussy mage desires.
Oh, I give up.
You have to remember, Shale, there's a reason that she wears that glamour so that she doesn't look as old as she truly is. Wynn does have a bit of a vanity, and we all do, and she's entitled to it. She has a right to her vanities, which is why she's much older than she looks. And the glamour doesn't hide everything about her. Can't change the voice. Or the demeanor, which is regal but old. Stoic and motherly. Dignified. Authoritative. A good mom. Just 1 second. Now, I don't care. I've got to help Dagna. Yep. I need to have something good. She wants to escape Orzammar and learn about the whole wide open world. I think she'll work just fine with that big sky out there.
Welcome back, friend.
You'll be glad to learn that the Circle is well on its way to recovery.
Dagna of Orzammar wishes to study magic.
Orzammar? Indeed. You have piqued my curiosity. It is common knowledge that dwarves lack the aptitude for spellcraft. She will never be able to weave the simplest magic, no matter how hard she tries.
I don't think she minds. She still wants to learn, though.
Fascinating. I suppose the Circle should be flattered.
You should. You should. She's giving up caste and clan for this. When she does this, she has to have a passion and a desire to really want to do this, because she's given up everything for this. She really is. She's giving everything up for this. And I respect her for that. I don't know if I were in her position if I would. I know Rica wouldn't. And I'm not condemning Rica. I know she wouldn't. We all like to think better of ourselves, that I would be able to do that for what I wanted. Give up my caste and clan, but I don't know. I really don't. But she is willing to be reduced to a position that I am. The brand, or the duster. And that needs to be respected and honored.
I see. If she is willing to sacrifice so much for this, then we should feel honored.
Yes.
Tell Dagna of Orzammar that this path will not be easy. But if she chooses it, then she is welcome here at the Circle.
Fantastic.
She will live and study with the Tranquil, and perhaps the apprentices, when it is appropriate.
Fantastic. She is going to be so overjoyed.
If only the Circle was in better shape. I fear she may be disappointed when she arrives.
You'll have an extra pair of hands to help rebuild. And she's a dwarf. She'll help build a better place. She's got some skills when it comes to that, trust me.
This will be interesting. She could tell us much about our dwarven neighbors. Yes, the more I think about it, the more I like the idea. I shall take this as an indication that perhaps things are starting to look up for the Circle. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else I can do for you?
You've already done much for the Circle. Now you must see to your duty as a Grey Warden.
Forgive me, but I must take my leave.
I wish you well. Know you will always be welcome here.
So the thing is, I like Irving, and I think this is good for Dagna. Come on. I don't like a scholar. Inform Dagna of the good news. First enchanter Irving of the Circle of Magi has agreed to accept Dagna as a student. Dagna will be elated, as she should be. This is good news. Okay. Back to Orzammar. I just had to drop everything to do this because I understand where she's coming from. Sorry, Tegrin. Let's get going. Find Dagna. Let's go to Dagna. Good news, my dear.
Hello, how can I... It's you!
Yes.
And it's been, well, quite a while. Enough time to get to the Circle and back, I hope. Oh, please tell me what they said.
First Enchanter Irving accepted you for study. Hip hip hooray! And you know what? With your Smith cast capabilities and your enchant for magic, and I know that you guys can do enchanting like the Tranquil. I think you'll be welcomed and have a very fruitful experience there. Be a very worthwhile area to study.
Ancestors, bless you.
Thank
I can't
you.
believe it. There hasn't even been a dwarven observer in the circle since your Relden in the 13th century. I need to pack. No, my parents would get suspicious. I need to go. Is there anything I should bring? Books, tuition?
Nothing. The mages need every ally they can get. And you know what? A dwarven smith with an interest in magic and perhaps an aptitude for enchantment would be very helpful in rebuilding the place.
Then I should go before my parents come looking for me. If you ever go to the circle again, maybe I'll see you there.
Sure. Good job, Dagna. You got out. Now I want to see to Rica. Need to see to my Rica.
I can't believe it.
Rica!
I heard the Dwarven Grey Warden came to Orzammar, and I couldn't help but hope. Look at you, my little sister, a battle-scarred veteran, and with quite the unusual entourage.
I've missed you, Rica. And you look fantastic. Wearing all that fine clothes like you always deserved and like to belong to you. You got jewels. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You look beautiful as always. And chipper and vibrant. This is so fantastic.
You look so good, and so fancy. I've been worrying that we're living in luxury while you're suffering on the road. Can you imagine? As of last month, I'm a royal concubine to House Iduken. They've moved Mother and me into the palace. You could fit our whole neighborhood just in the bathing room. I wish you could meet little Endrin, but they don't let me bring him outside the royal nursery.
I understand. They gotta protect him. You're a mother?
Little Endrin was born right before his grandfather died. His grandfather, the king. Can you believe it? My son is an Iduken. The future king of Orzammar spends his nights in my bed. Barat was a toad, but I have to thank him for teaching me to read, dance, massage, and whatever else Balin sees in me.
He sees a brilliant, intelligent, beautiful, good person who's kind and compassionate and wonderful and mature and strong. I know you're not going to be queen. How is Mother and Lesky?
Mother is... Mother.
Yeah.
We have everything we could want now, but... Well, you know what they say. You can't leave Dusttown if you always take it with you.
Yes.
And I haven't seen Lesky since you left. Balin doesn't like me spending time off the estate.
It's dangerous, that's why, and it's probably best that you don't. Because they could try to get to him by getting to you. Yeah, and he doesn't know how to take care of himself.
What about you? Has life been hard up there? All the news from the surface says terrible things are happening. Darkspawn attacks and a civil war among the humans.
A new blight is beginning.
Ancestors, save us. I was afraid you'd say that. I hate this. Until there's a king, the Assembly would let the world collapse rather than bow to anyone's better judgment. But I can introduce you to Vartag Gavorn. He's Balin's chief lieutenant. He could help you if anyone could.
Just tell me what... Great, take me there.
He may be suspicious at first. Don't take it personally. It's been so hard to tell who's against us.
You're my sister, so I will always side with you.
I'm at the Assembly. This is no place for a woman. What do you mean by this?
Okay.
Vartag, I want you to meet my sister. She's a Grey Warden and comes from the surface with terrible news.
Of course. I wasn't thinking. It would be hard not to notice the Grey Warden and her eclectic entourage. I hear you seek the aid of Orzammar's finest.
I need aid against the blight. This treaty obligates Orzammar to send troops to the surface.
Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now.
I know what you are. I've met a lot of people like you. What matters is that you are aligned with Balin, who is Rica's beloved. And like everyone else in Orzammar, it's all about family and caste. So I will align with you to save Rica and to help Rica. You've probably figured this out by now. May I speak with Balin?
You must understand. Haramond hides behind his good reputation while sending spies and assassins. Balin can't know who to trust. It's been like a knife in the heart for Balin to see so many of his father's men stand with the usurper.
What must I do to prove my good intentions?
Haramond has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Haramond's deception.
Irrefutable evidence, which I suppose you have?
I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude.
What kind of evidence?
Haramond promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Haramond can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Haramond gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes.
Isn't there someone you could report him to?
Normally, the Shapers would handle this sort of accusation. As I'm sure you remember, their libraries hold all our laws and records. They should be the final arbiters of this debate.
I wanted to be one.
Fortunately, the Shaper of Memories is the most important among them, and his grandfather was Lord Haramond's aunt's first cousin. Obviously, we cannot expect him to offer an unbiased opinion.
Actually, this is legitimate to argue, because Orzammar is like that. It's all about family connections. It's all about nepotism. It's all about patronage. And that's ultimately one of the many reasons why to keep the castles down, is of course that starts to interfere with that system, to let them build alternative systems. You want to increase your own importance by keeping yourself as scarce as possible in terms of your numbers. But that hurts you, of course, when it comes to actual expansion or fighting Darkspawn. He'd hold a distant relative over his duty. He would, but I just want to get the reaction.
From what your sister says, I'm sure I don't have to tell you the importance of family.
I get it.
The Shaper is biased, and if you want Prince Balin's help, you'll have to show where your loyalties lie. Will you do it?
I was going to help you from the beginning, buddy, because of her and for her. I just wanted to get an assessment of your character, which is what I thought it would be. Not very good, but no one here is. So I'll find Lady Dace and Lord Helmy right now.
Lady Dace doesn't leave the quarter much, but Lord Helmy's adventurous, likes to spend his time at Tapster's in the Commons. Remember, don't tell who you got these papers from me. You learned of them and drew your own conclusions.
Alright, so here's what we're going to have to do. When you are not helpful, we're going to be moving you out of the party for the things I'm going to have to do for this guy when it comes to dealing with him. I'll use you to fight, but I'm not going to use you for other stuff. In terms of being with the negotiations. This isn't Arl Eamon we're dealing with. Not a noble man like that. Someone of an entirely different character indeed.
I knew Vartag could help you. And just wait until you meet Prince Balin. You'll love him.
You love him, so I must love him. Or accept him, or like him, or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Do you know anything about Lady Dace?
Not a lot. She's supposed to be very practical. She doesn't care about larger issues, only how her own house is affected. Vartag speaks favorably of her dedication.
Okay, that'll help. Is there anything I should know about Lord Helmy?
His mother is getting on in years and gave up her assembly seat to him. Many of the nobles think he's a disappointment. He actually thinks the lower classes are people. I could almost like him if he wasn't such a vocal supporter for Harrowmont.
Maybe we could win him over with this thing that Harrowmont supposedly did. If we lie to win him over, and that means he's not enemies, we form an alliance over time, all the better. And that's part of the reason why we can't have Win for this. She would object. Mama's too straight and narrow for it. How is Vartag related to Balin?
He isn't, but Gavorn is a very minor house, and Balin has always favored them. Vartag's son was fostered with Idukin, which was a great honor. Balin promised that when little Indrin is 12, he'll spend a year there in exchange.
Tell me about little Indrin. I want to see my nephew.
Finally you ask.
I'm sorry.
Beautiful, with the biggest brown eyes, and so smart. He already knows who his father is. I'm sure his first word will be Prince. But you're giving me that look. I can take a hint. Finish your business and we can talk later.
I should get going.
Off with you then. Far be it from me to keep you from service to my house. I still love saying that. My house.
You deserve it. I love you, Rica. And I'm just so happy that things have worked out so well for you. And you look so wonderful. You deserve the fine clothes and the jewels, and you're a good person. You deserve this. You would be a great queen or noble leader, noble woman.
I knew Vartag could help you. And just wait until you meet Prince Balin. You'll love him.
I'm sure I will. I should get going.
Off with you then. Far be it from me to keep you from service to my house. I still love saying that. My house.
I did that just so you could say that and feel important. Because you are important. So I'm happy. That's wonderful. I love you, Rica. You'll always be my sister. The only family that I ever really have from blood. Mom, Kala is not my real mother. That's Win. Mama Win. Thank you so much for being okay. So a few things. There's just one more thing I want to check.
The assembly is in session. Enter quietly if you wish to observe.
Okay, yeah, I do. I'll show this to Win, and then we'll see.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ.
The will of the Paragon is that the Grey Warden decide.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Desher's lords and ladies of the Assembly. I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The Assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions.
Okay.
Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the assembly of the clans. Only Deshers and occasional guests of state are allowed in.
I appreciate the civility that you showed me. And I've even used the term duster myself. It's certainly better than brand, but there are times when it kind of rubs me a little the wrong way, given that I was a rut duster. You don't recognize a Grey Warden?
Forgive me. I am so exhausted. I completely forgot about the message from the gate guard.
It's okay.
Welcome back to Orzammar, Warden. A great deal has changed in recent days. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne.
Thank you for saying welcome back and acknowledging what I once was and not holding it against me. I shouldn't have to say that, but it is appreciative. So who has the authority to aid me?
I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Balin or Lord Harrowmont, and they are slow to trust anyone.
Understandably
in these
so.
uncertain times. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
Thank you. I believe that.
Warden, I'm afraid the Assembly is still locked in debate. What can I do for you?
Who is on the assembly? I know who, but how's the election looking now?
At this point, they're stone for stone. I wouldn't put any coin on the outcome. It's still up in the air, though. One big surprise, and it could go either way. Warden, I'm afraid the assembly is still locked in debate. What can I do for you?
The assembly.
Only members of the noblest houses are eligible. Those who claim a Desha, General, or Paragon among their ancestors.
Yeah.
As steward, I am a non-voting member. I'm not permitted to voice opinions about the vote, though I am forming some about our members.
Wise move. Is there any way I can break this stalemate?
I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Balin or Lord Harriman, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times.
Yep.
I only wish there was more I could do for you.
Thank you, steward. So before I do what I've been asked, show Lord Helmy and Lady Days proof of Harriman's cheating ways. Prince Balin will not give you an audience until you prove yourself trustworthy. Vartag, understandable. Gavorn has charged you with the task of showing Lord Helmy and Lady Days promissory notes as evidence of Harriman's cheating ways. Vartag says Lord Helmy can often be found in tapsters in the commons, while Lady Days seldom leaves the Diamond Quarter. What I'm going to do... Atrasvala.
Keep your hands to yourself, Brand. I'm watching you.
I'm a Grey Warden, you piece of dung. I've fought werewolves, and I've saved elves and werewolves. I fought off an attack by massive waves of undead. I've saved the child of one of the most important noble houses
Keep your
from
hands
being
to yourself,
from
Brand.
demons.
I'm watching you.
I have done more in one day than you have in entire life. I've fought and striven and led, and I've built up the best in people. I created a family from nothing. Don't you down talk to me. You can't even keep order in this place, and you dare to speak to me in that way. And by the way, my sister Rica is Balin's paramour and love. And I know how Orzammar works. And besides the fact that shit splatters when you slap it, I am so close to finding out who and what you are, being just that petty, and having him fuck you over 7 ways to Sunday. And 20 to your own damn name day. It will be interesting to see how people react.
Young Prince Endrin is a smart one.
Yeah, that's good to hear that my nephew is, and I do want to meet my nephew. You know what? Let's go take a look in the shipwreck. Before I do that, there's something I want to do.
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive?
Yeah, I'd like to tell you about where I came from. You know, that was the best experience I've ever had in Orzammar.